Welcome back to Unapologetically in Power, the space where we stop performing strength and start telling ourselves the truth. I'm Jennifer Damascus, and today we're talking about the moment you catch the voice and why that moment counts more than you think. If you're listening and you feel like you're carrying too much, I need you to take a breath with me, a real one. The kind that reminds your body you are not in trouble. By the end of this episode, you'll see that catching the nasty voice mid-spiral, even when you can't stop it, is the actual win, not a consolation prize for not being calm enough. You have one of those days. You know the day I'm talking about, where everything goes wrong at once and the nasty voice starts in. You're the worst. You're horrible. You can't even hold it together for 5 minutes. And here's the part nobody talks about. You don't just spiral. You judge yourself for spiraling on top of it. So now you're not just frustrated. You're frustrated and ashamed of being frustrated, and convinced both of those things mean something terrible about who you are. And if that feels familiar, then this episode is for you. John Maxwell has a line I think about a lot, and that's little progress is better than no progress at all. And most people hear that as a productivity quote, such as keep working, small steps, don't give up on the project. But today I want to bring it somewhere more internal. The moment you catch yourself mid-spiral and say, even quietly, I'm not horrible, I'm just frustrated. That's progress. Not preparation for progress. Not a nice thought on the way to the real work. That is the work happening in real time. And here's what I've been noticing lately. On days that go sideways, my first reaction isn't, I'm frustrated. It's, I'm the worst. I skip right past the accurate word and go straight to the character verdict. And I'm great at catching this for other people. Client tells me she snapped at her kid because her day was a disaster, I tell her that's frustration, not evidence she's a bad mom. I believe that every time I say it to someone else. But when it's me, that breaks down. My inner critic doesn't even build a case. It just says, you're too much. And then right behind it, it says, this is exactly why nothing works for you. But underneath that is the real pattern. And that's if I'm not calm, I'm not in control. And if I'm not in control, I'm failing. So what's my pivot question that I keep coming back to on this? And that's, if my daughter came to me and said she was having a horrible moment, would I tell her she was horrible? Or would I tell her she was having a moment and moments end? I already know which one is true. I just don't always say it to myself first. Dr. Dan Siegel has another way of describing this exact moment. He calls it flipping your lid. It's when stress spikes fast, the thinking part of your brain, part that can hold something specific and true, like I'm frustrated, it goes offline. And your brain's alarm system takes over the response instead. And that alarm system doesn't deal in specifics. It deals in verdicts. It doesn't hand you frustrated. It hands you horrible. Because a global threat label fires faster than an accurate one ever could. So if your critic gets louder in that moment, that's most likely not the truth. It's probably just protection and a stressed nervous system grabbing the simplest, harshest label available because it's quicker than the honest one. Dr. Kristen Neff's research on self-compassion points to something useful here too. It's naming what you actually feel without judgment is itself an act of self-kindness. It's not a way of letting yourself off the hook. The myth is that naming the frustration accurately is somehow softer or weaker than the harsh label. It's the opposite. It takes more honesty to say, I'm frustrated, than to reach for, I'm horrible, because the harsh label is automatic and the accurate one requires you to actually look. And there's a well-documented finding in psychology sometimes, which is summarized as name it to tame it, meaning putting an accurate word to an emotion measurably calms the brain's threat response. So when you catch yourself and swap, I'm the worst for I'm frustrated, you're not just being nicer to yourself, you're doing something your nervous system can actually register as safety. So here's how I want you to start reframing it from today forward. Noticing isn't the thing that happens before growth. Noticing is growth. And the moment you catch the voice and correct the label, even if you can't fix the day, even if you're still frustrated 5 minutes later, you have just done the exact thing this whole sovereign practice is built on. You are not someone who can't control her reactions. You are someone who is starting to catch them. And that's not a smaller version of change. That's what change looks like while it's actually happening, before it's polished enough to show anyone. Little progress is better than no progress at all. And catching the voice mid-event is progress. Full stop. So you're probably thinking, well, how does this work in real life? So the first thing I would say is swap the verdict for the accurate word. Again, it's not I'm horrible, it's I'm frustrated. And say the true one, even silently. Then you don't try to fix the day. See, the win isn't calming down instantly. The win is that you caught it at all. Then you do one breath after you name it. Again, not to solve anything, just to let your body register that you noticed. You're not horrible, you're frustrated. Then we keep a tiny mental tally for the week. Again, not a full counting, just enough to notice how many times you caught that voice instead of believing it. And then at the end of the day, name one moment you caught yourself. Again, not to grade the whole day, just to clock the win that actually happened. You are not the worst. You are not horrible. You are a woman having a hard moment and you noticed it, which means something in you is already changing. And every time you catch that voice, instead of believing it, that's not a small thing happening on the side of growth. That is your growth. And if this episode names something you've been living, the first real step isn't waiting until you never spiral again. It's knowing which mask has been running the show underneath that harsh voice. So take the identity mask quiz. The link is in the show notes, and find out which of the masks is costing you the most right now in your life. And I'll see you next week here on Unapologetically in Power.